There's a lot of heartache in this family. I mean, honestly, how can one family endure so much?
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Poem for Gus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Again, these things control differently than I expect flying things to. I want to push up to go down and down to go up, but it doesn't work that way.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Glad the game has mercy on me at points.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I remember.
So this is Sam's second wife. Oh, are we supposed to bust this up? No? Oh, there we go. There it is.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Uh-huh.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Gets struck by lightning, doesn't he?
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
You wish that.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
So, we lack Edie, Lewis, Milton. Unless we need to find Sven, Ingeborg, and Sanjay. Otherwise, we have 3 left. Very militaristic routine there. Oh, really? I guess this is the next way.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Guess you take what you can get.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
You know, whatever it takes to get you through the day. Just as long as you aren't being cruel to someone else.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Ah, and that's where Sanjay came in. Who I'm guessing was your father.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Louis was born a year later.
Well, there's no going down.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Might have been better not to have come back, though, with everything that's happened here.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
I mean, it's already pretty freaking big, except that apparently this family can never reuse a room that someone who has died used to occupy. So they all become memorials. That makes the house a lot smaller.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
Nice little classroom here. I guess you guys were homeschooled.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Is that this? There's Milton's room, I suppose. We still don't know what became of him.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
That we must also enter. I mean, artistic talent runs in this
I think Edie
family.
was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Artistic talent seems to run deep in this family, whether it's painting, drawing, photography. Oh, didn't expect that.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Okay. I mean, that is a pretty huge endeavor there that this kid underwent. Huh. Honestly, I'm kind of relieved that that's all it is to Milton's story.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Not a very healthy way to deal with things, that's for sure.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Oh. Where to from here? Further up, apparently.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis.
Which way? Yes, either way, judging by how things have gone up till now. That is a neat incorporation. Speedboat, part of your room, especially this high up in the air. Hello, Hookah.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Yep. I like the art. And the music.
Louis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
I understand that.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
What are we...
He kept working at the cannery,
Oh.
but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
Wander? Am I going to get my hand chopped off? Is that the deal? I don't understand what we're doing here.
wander.
Oh, use WASD keys, okay? Okay. And we're going to lose our hand. That's what's going to happen. I'm trying to do both these things at once, and that's not going to work out.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
He'd feel his way about.
Right.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
Dragon skeleton?
and things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
Okay.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Oh, now we're 3D.
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing to be doing.
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
This is all hitting very close to home.
I even encouraged him.
Yeah.
It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Not a real friend, though, right?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
And
Songs for them to play.
I don't know what this condition is that he's got,
He talked about starting a band.
but it's not going to end well, we know that.
He was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery.
Does he go
But his
catatonic?
chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor,
Which he won.
and he won.
I mean, what good is having a land in your imagination if it doesn't do what you want it to do?
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
Uh-huh. That's a real city there,
He
dude.
started drifting away from our reality.
This boat's not cooperating.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
Oh, jeez.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
And he was lost.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
Sure. Beautiful prince.
beautiful prince.
Who had many different colors to sell through.
The prince was on his own quest for
Radiant rainbows.
radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of his
silver harp.
Silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Wow, the reality is just fading away. As time passes, it's all just becoming this.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
It's a heck of a thing to get lost in your own mind.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming.
I imagine so.
And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
I mean, to him it was real. And the cannery is the palace, I guess?
He began to forget the world we know.
Yeah.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Just please tell me he doesn't hurt someone else.
He
That's
began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
himself. Suicide.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Sorry for the sparse commentary here. This is hitting really close to home.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Not the escaping into the imagination thing, but anything having to do with coping with depression or mental illness. Hello, good night.
His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
What is required to claim the crown, though?
Bend down his head.
I don't want to do this, but
rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Me too. Me too. Oh, no, 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 don't go. Out, please. Like I said, I don't know about the whole imagination thing. Creating a world in your own mind to escape into. I've certainly been in horrible depression, though. Where do we go from here? The swings, maybe? Was I supposed to go on those? I don't know how to get any higher. If that's indeed what we're supposed to be doing. Did I miss something in here? Is there a way to go further on? Oh, there was. There's the exit door. I saw that too. Sorry. Little emotional right now. Not really thinking in a completely coherent...
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
And that's when you left.
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Maybe she didn't know what she wanted to make it. Maybe it's just she couldn't bring herself to do it.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
What is with the packages? And how did you guys get up here without walking outside? That would have been miserable and dangerous in bad weather.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
You can only run from the past for so long. Looks like her mother was an author.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Is that when your grandmother died? Was the same year? Was it the day you left? After that night?
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
If I said I was ready, I'd be lying.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
She stays behind. I mean, she's 90 years old. What do you expect? It's the only place she's lived for 60-ish years. Is it? I don't remember the exact construction
the power
date.
had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Oh.
Or that Edie had a key to it.
Oh, the gift is the library.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
They're not dead because of the stories.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
And we need to go to the ocean.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You
I
know,
bet.
I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around.
Oh, it's a rock. What are we going to discover?
For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
Seeing things or seeing things? Because they're different. If you understand my meaning.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Oh, a bed frame.
When I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Such as?
Or maybe I came back to them.
Suppose it's all in your perspective.
Things I can't explain. I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Do we not get to finish
I
the
never
story?
saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
You really have a thing for those
We both tried to make the best of it.
love type things.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Sounds like lung cancer.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
I think it's for you, Edith. I think writing it is
But now
therapeutic.
I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself.
Yeah, that's better.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Who are we? Are we Edith or are we Edith's daughter? I hope we're Edith.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh God, that's what the lilies were for. Holy shit. That was some incredible storytelling right there. Even with the foreshadowing and figuring out what was going to come, that hit me way harder than I expected. We've all lost people that mean special things to us. I lost my last living grandparent in 2010. At the age of 93, she fell and broke her hip and is, with most people over the age of 65 or so, she never recovered from it. Just 2 weeks ago was the 1-year anniversary of the death of my father, who'd been sick for a long time. Several times thought he was going to be gone earlier. In fact, about 10 years before that, 11 years now, doctors had us all gather in the hospital, tell us to say our goodbyes, that there was nothing more to be done. And yet we got 10 more years, for which I'm grateful. And yet, it's never enough. I know it's tropey and cliche, but the people in your lives who are special to you, cherish them while you can, because much sooner than you think, one of you is not going to be around anymore. And if it's not you, then you get to lie in your bed at night and wonder, as thoughts come unbidden to your mind, what if they were still here? What could I have done that I didn't? We only have a limited time available to us. It's up to us to make the most out of the time that we've been given. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. It was as emotional an experience as I wished it could be. I don't really have anything more to say. I hope you'll join me next time when we explore something new. Until then, I have been Tevaron. Cherish your loved ones. And be excellent to each other. You never know when the opportunity you just had will be the last that you'll ever have.